So let's say you want to design a blended learning experience. And to keep it straightforward, what I mean is that there will be an asynchronous, self-directed, individual learning component and a synchronous, in-person group learning component, and they'll be explicitly linked together. Now, when we come to design these learning experiences, a common approach is to be led by the content, meaning that people start adding digital content, such as videos, etc., to an existing in-person classroom-based learning experience. Now, this approach can lead to what I call course bloat, where there's irrelevant content and activities because you've added on to your existing learning experience unnecessarily. Students then pick up on this. They're really good at taking the path of least resistance in most cases. So they disengage from the irrelevant content and your time and effort has been wasted. An alternative is an outcomes-focused approach. Now, this is a great approach for many reasons, but it puts people off because it's time-consuming initially in the planning stages, as you need to start ensuring you have well-crafted, clear, measurable learning outcomes from the course level down to your weekly individual teaching sessions. So it takes some time to map these out, but having these learning outcomes well-defined will help you make decisions related to what summative assessments are appropriate and what content and activities are needed in your course. And importantly, for blended learning, these well-defined outcomes will guide you as to where certain content and activities will be delivered in the asynchronous or synchronous environments. And we'll come back to this in a moment. Okay, so as far as our workload goes in a regular approach to an outcomes-based design, we'd need to take the following steps. So step one would be developing course-level learning outcomes, or at least ensuring the outcomes you have are clear and measurable. So this means not having verbs like understand or learn in your outcomes, or having multiple verbs, because it makes it difficult to measure explicitly what successful achievement looks like. Step two then would be to identify appropriate summative assessments that are related to your course level learning outcomes. Step three would be developing learning outcomes or objectives for your individual teaching sessions that all link up to your course level learning outcomes. Step four would be identifying which teaching session objectives can be delivered in the asynchronous or synchronous environment. And the tip here is that lower order thinking can happen in the asynchronous environment, and higher order thinking is best supported in the synchronous in-classroom environment. And then step five would be identifying content and activities and formative assessments or assessment for learning that link to your session level learning outcomes and support your learners to achieve their summative assessments. And in doing so, they also implicate achievement of the course level learning outcomes. So this is a lot to do before you've even started teaching, and many people feel they don't have the time for this, or they don't know where to start, or they don't see how valuable the time spent here will eventually save them time in the future. But this is where generative AI tools can help turn what could take weeks of planning into less than 1 hour. In fact, the demonstration that I'm about to show took around 30 minutes, and ChatGPT was running a little slow. So let's take a look.